What happens when high performing men face massive change without losing their edge and their soul? In this powerful conversation, Barton Henderson, Esquire, and I reveal how to stay aligned, energized, and grounded when life throws curveballs like career pivots, cross country moves, and emotional burnout. We're going to discover how structured accountability fuels consistent action, how to cut through chaos and prioritize what matters, and what real community is the secret weapon for sustainable success. So, if you're navigating change and want to stay clear, focused, and fulfilled, this one's for you. Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyon, your host, the founder of the Lead Machine Marketing Group and Mastermind, and I'm dedicated to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream life. So, if you want to take your business to the next level, or if you're just starting out, let's get this conversation started. I'm sure you're going to love it. Barton Henderson, Esquire, is just in the wings waiting here. Barton is the founder of the Agora Guild. It's a fast-growing men's community helping high-performing men take aligned action in their lives and careers through structured growth, accountability, and brotherhood. With a background in entrepreneurship, legal recruiting, and high-performance coaching, he supports individuals and organizations in reclaiming their energy, building scalable systems, which I'm all about, and developing an authentic leadership brand, which I also am an advocate for, especially with values-oriented leadership. His work integrates physical, emotional, and financial growth, and he regularly hosts recorded sessions with leaders and creatives navigating career reinvention and burnout with the pursuit of purpose. Barton, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you being here today at this hour.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to somebody who's an expert in an area that I've spent a lot of my life, read a lot of books on. And it's great to hear your different podcasts and perspectives on the different ways people can implement different systems in their companies. So thanks for sharing.
Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. So you built a company that ranked in the top 10 fastest growing in the Northeast. What is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make that keeps them from scaling? Because obviously you've mastered that.
Love it. Keeps them from scaling. So I think it's usually the first step. And if this is going too early in the cycle, let me know. But
It's okay.
I think the first step is the mistake that people make. I'll give you an example of two actual people that I know. So one of them is a great guy, very intelligent person. And he went to start a company, and it was a tech company, and he was years ahead of his cohort. And he kept wanting to perfect it, Things weren't exactly where he wanted. Perfect. 1 year went by, 2 years went by, 3 years, 4 years went by. And I thought he had a great system, right? And I just said, please just put it out there. Just get it out there. Everyone has issues. Everyone has bugs, things that you can fix. So 4 years went by, no money. Eventually what happened was, with the advent of AI and things like that, the exact same types of companies started popping up left and right. That's one example. Someone who just didn't take the action, put it out there. Another example, a guy who has a car detailing business, literally going around cleaning cars. So started out cleaning cars and said, hey, I've got one car. I made $200. Let me see if I know anybody else. Got another car. He never did the steps that the other guy took so much time to do, which is get that website, get the legal stuff in order, get the marketing, get the everything set up. But he just started making money, and he started doing things. Eventually, he turned around. So many people were referring him. The guy's making $6,000 a month cleaning cars, which is nothing to turn an eye at for a lot of people. He started, and then he goes, oh, now I need to work on a website. Now I need to do this. So the number one thing I think oftentimes that I always say is do whatever you need to do to make $1, right? Whatever you need to literally make $1, because it could turn out you have a bad idea. I've had bad ideas in the past. You get that company going, you go, oh, that's the problem here. That's why no one's paying me $1. And so do whatever you can do to make $1. I feel is the biggest mistake. Too many people get in their heads because it's sexy to start, or attractive to people to start a company, to do the website, to do the logo, to do things like that. It's so attractive to people to do that stuff, but less attractive to actually pull in the dollar. So I say, do the first thing you can do to make the dollar really.
Yeah. And you touched on the follow-up question to that, which is reacting too slowly to what the business needs next.
Yes.
As we scale, we need to retool, we need to have systems in place. But you're right. I have a programming background from many years ago. And the way I approach a problem is I do that first step to see, can I get this program to do this one thing? And once I know that I can do that, then I can add on to that.
Yep.
It's called iteration, or rinse and repeat is what I like to call it. And you rinse and repeat, but you iterate through the process and incrementally improve it. So while you're making that dollar, you can actually start to build systems that can replace some of your manual effort and things like that. So
Yes. That very point, as far as scaling mistakes, I think so many people, their next question is always, who do I hire next? What's the next hire I have to make? Talking to someone like you, Paul, it's not who do I need to hire next? It's how do I make my systems better so maybe I don't have to hire someone. Eventually, when I do hire someone, that person's optimized, right? Because it's so funny. People always say, how many employees do you have? And that's a question across all the companies. Like, how many employees? They always gauge by how many employees. We're in an age where there's going to be $1 billion unicorn that's a 1 to 5 employee company, right? And
yeah, for sure.
systems down, the next step in growth isn't who do I need? It's what systems do I need oftentimes.
In systems and standard operating procedures, so that you can bring people in, and so that you can take a vacation, and so that you can scale a business and walk away from it, and it runs while you're doing and working on the business, developing it and making it better and serving people. Which is hopefully that's what you set out to do in the first place, is to solve problems for people and help them be profitable or to be successful or whatever it is. Yeah, those are important things. And those are my bread and butter things I like to talk about.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're great things. If you lost everything today and had to start over from scratch, what's the first thing you would do to rebuild success?
Surround myself with good people, probably. I think that would be what it is. And so if you're surrounding yourself with good people, good things will happen. Surrounding yourself with driven people, you'll be more driven. If you want to get in shape, surround yourself with people who are in shape. If you want to become better at business, surround yourself with people who are better in business. So I think the first thing I do is surround myself with people in whatever area I need to rebuild, essentially.
Yeah. And I would also think that you would emulate what they're doing, but you'd also have a really clear vision of what you wanted to accomplish.
Absolutely.
How do you go about you getting clear on where you want to go next?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I find a lot of people nowadays are chasing money, right? We know that it's a normal thing that we see in society. And I had a funny moment just earlier. So I own a unit in a business condo. We have a bunch of different businesses here. And I noticed when I went outside that it's 6:20 here. I just moved my car at around 6 o'clock. And I noticed all the nicest cars were here later at 6 o'clock. Not just all the general cars. Let's go. Those are the nicest cars in here. And it made me think about the fact that, the people are here. They have the nicest cars, but they're still working, whereas everybody else went home. And
Yeah.
there's that constant idea of what are you chasing and where are you orienting? So for me, I've always chased freedom, and I hope to continue to chase freedom, but it doesn't mean money. And my kind of first plan would be surround myself with people, find something I really like to do that can help the most amount of people, and go from there. So if you bring people value, no matter what the value is, right? Some value might be getting someone an apple for $1. Other value could be helping somebody lose 25 pounds. Whatever the value is you give people, if you give people value, you can make money from it. So I'd orient myself towards something I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And also not just worry about chasing money if I had to start over. And I still am doing that every day.
Right. And when you chase money, it runs away from you.
Yep.
You know, but when you give, when your hands are like this,
Yep.
it's easier to, when your hands are like this, when you're trying to, things get repel from you. When they're open like this,
Yep.
things come to you. So we talked a little bit about energy just a second ago. So a lot of men struggle with energy, focus, and discipline. What's the number one thing that they can change today to boost their performance in life and business?
Ooh, love that. So I guess two things I'd go into. So one is my thoughts on energy after I had kids and how that changed.
Yeah.
And then two is I really think without focusing on health, you don't have the energy that you need in life. Once I had kids, my wife and I, we just had a different mentality on energy. We started asking ourselves in everything we do, is this going to give energy to me or is it going to take energy away from me? Now, energy might sound woo to some people or whatever it might be, but there's a give and take in all energy. You drink coffee, it's going to give you energy now, but it's going to suck energy later, right? So there's a give and take in everything. And so we started asking in everything, is this going to give us energy or take energy? So some people go, I want to go out on Saturday or whatever it is with friends to a bar. Is that really going to give me energy or is that going to take energy? Sometimes, depending on the people and the situation, it's going to give you energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to be drinking till late in the night and not having meaningful conversations, whatever. That can really take energy from you the next day, whenever it might be. I've started asking in everything I do, is it going to give me energy or is it going to take energy? And so to put it in more real perspectives, when you were growing up, Paul, I think you said you've worked in a factory, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any service industry jobs or anything of that nature? Server, bartender, retail, or was it factory the whole time?
Well, when my dad gave me that call, he said, get into computers or management or both. I left the factory through a fault of my own. And I got into computers and got some certification. And of course, I took the short route to getting a job in the computers because of my age and because I needed to make money on my own. So I got a retail computer job in retail computer sales.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
At the factory, then, it's probably a good example. If you're working all day long next to somebody, sometimes you do a double, right? You're not just doing a shift, you're doing two shifts. So you're working all day long, and the guy next to you is just going, oh man, this is terrible. Life is terrible. That's hard. I got this problem at home. Did you hear there was just a horrible accident in India? Did you hear about that? Whatever. They're just going off about negative things. You're sitting next to that for 2 6 or 8 hour shifts.
Exhausting.
Yeah. You get home and you're really like, oh gosh, that was rough.
And then you got the kids.
So you've got that energy suck. Like literally, it's just a good way for me to put it from a kind of metaphysical to a physical way of you can be physically drained of energy just by being around certain people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I believe the opposite's true as well, which is you go to, let's say, a great seminar or a mastermind or something like that, and now you're surrounded by people who are energetic, who are positive, who are going to the gym, who are nutritious, who just have the same mindset as you. You leave that conference like, whoa, I'm going to crush it tomorrow. Like I'm going to do awesome things. So you get more energy. And so just to bring it to people, I'm not talking about woo stuff. I'm talking about actually getting energy. Yeah. So when we had kids, we were like, we've got to make the right decisions because we are getting drained of energy in a lot of different areas. And so when it comes to men who want to keep that energy, it's first making those decisions on, is going out going to drain my energy or is it going to give me energy? Now, there's certain things you have to do in work and life that are going to drain energy. Okay. How do you get it back? Make sure you go to the gym. Make sure you go for a nice walk. Make sure you play guitar. Whatever your outlet is, make sure you're recharging the energy. So I think nutrition, going to the gym. I know that any of the men in our group who are multimillionaires or have been successful in many things, or many of the guest speakers who are multimillionaires or more, they centrally have a trait, which is they take care of their body. They didn't become wealthy and then spend tons of time in the gym and nutrition, things like that. They always did that. And because they had the energy to do that, it flowed into finance and other things. So
Yeah.
answer it simply, it's audit your energy in, energy out. Ask the question, am I going to get energy or is it going to take energy from me?
Yeah. And I think the next question here is you talk about lifespan and longevity. What's the biggest silent killer that's stealing men's health that no one is paying attention to?
Oh, Paul. Oh, man. We only have about 45 minutes here.
Yeah.
I'll give you the quick cliff notes because I am a fanatic on health. I read a lot of health books a year. It's what I really love. I love helping people with So when I used to talk about health, I'd give talks or I'd go speak somewhere about health. I used to talk about going to the gym and nutrition. And that used to be the first way that I would answer this. I now have a different way that I approach it. So now I believe that in this society nowadays, we have been given so many toxins
Yeah.
that the number one step is to remove toxins from your life. So the average male nowadays, like I can't give you the exact stat off the top of my head, but 25-year-old men nowadays generally have the testosterone of what 50 years ago would have been 65 to 75-year-old men. And there are reasons for that. There are clear reasons for that. So talk about health. The first couple of things, eliminate toxins from your life as much as possible. Now, you start going down that road. It's like, what are the toxins? It becomes clear. People think it's so difficult to get to the healthy lifestyle that a lot of men I know are at. It's just one thing at a time. So like microplastics, right? Microplastics had estradiol in there, which will increase estrogen and decrease testosterone. So guess what? Don't drink out of plastic bottles. Drink out of metal bottles or glass bottles. Like, it's a small step, right? So microplastics, glyphosate, I don't know how much you know about glyphosate. It's a really big plight on our society. So just eating organic or regenerative, right? There's just a multitude of things, all the sprays, fragrance, phthalates, all sorts of things in our society that are silently poisoning men, right? Silently poisoning everybody. And so the first thing I'd say is learn about what the toxins are. Once you remove those, now let's talk about exercise and nutrition. What's real nutrition versus not real nutrition? I could do a whole talk with you on health, but I'd say first remove toxins, then go to exercise, energy, and nutrition. And then you really start to hone in on the very specific changes you can do about red light or about honing in on nutrients and things of that nature. But step one is try to learn about some of the toxins that are in our current society.
Yeah, totally. And especially as you grow, as we men, I'm a senior, have been around for a while, and it's way more important. And start to feel the effects of, oh wow, I'm paying for sins of the past for sure, and ignoring it is. What do you think the impact of ignoring their ability is taking a toll on men?
Absolutely. I like to tell a lot of the men that I'm surrounded by in my life, look, you don't have time. The time is now, because your uncle who had a heart attack at 58 or 68, he didn't have the heart attack at 58 or 68. He started when he was 25, right? Because of the things he was doing, the nutrition. So like whether you're 25 or 35 or 45, now is the time you need to start thinking about health and the things to prevent and to make sure that you're healthy for the future, for your family and things like that. Can't read more.
And I'm over 65. There's a book called Younger Next Year, which talks about some of the things that you're talking about. But one of my favorite podcasters, his name is Hal Elrod.
Okay.
He wrote the book Miracle Morning. And he has a routine that he does on a daily. It's a ritual routine. He exercises savers. They're called savers, which is silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, and scribing, which is journaling, and really impactful for people. And I think that exercise part of it is the hardest thing to do, but the most important thing to do when you get up in the morning and start moving. But just that little half hour when you get up is so important to you. And I know it can transform lives. So what is your routine in the morning without going in too deep? Because I know you probably got a great one.
Yes, it's funny. I have 2 boys and my wife's now pregnant with the 3rd boy.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. I have a very strict routine that I've had for quite a long time, but in the last 2 months, it shifted a little bit because I need to be home a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what it is and what I'm finally able to get back to you next week nicely enough. So I try to wake up between 4 or 4:30 every single morning. I find that my day just doesn't feel as good if I don't wake up between 4 to 4:30. So I love waking up at 4 to 4:30. I try to prep everything the night before, which is key to the morning routine.
Yeah.
Ed Milet, he's got a great podcast, but he talks about the idea of not having discipline himself. Everyone thinks he's so disciplined, but it's just because he leaves himself breadcrumbs so that he can be disciplined the next day. So make the coffee in the morning, lay out the gym clothes, pack the gym bag the day before. So that's what I do. Wake up, get to the gym, do a pretty hard workout for an hour or racquetball, and then sauna, which has been so instrumental. I've boosted my testosterone over 300 points in the last 6 months or so. I attribute a lot of it to sauna. And sauna is a time where you can meditate, sit, relax, and then go through your day. But the point is, by waking up at 4 or 4:30, I have time that all the things like the miracle morning and everybody else say, don't check your phone for the first hour, don't check emails. I feel better checking and getting a lot of emails out of the way, then going to work out and go in the sauna and things like that. Is there any right answer? I don't think so. A lot of people say, don't check your email, don't check your phone. I actually like that because I get things out of the way and then I can go work out and relax knowing that I've hit a lot of things out of the way.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. I think just having a routine in general is the right answer. If like there's small things we didn't go into, like salt and lemon in the water, first thing, drink water, I could really get into it. Take some NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, which is a phenomenal supplement, all sorts of great stuff. But generally speaking, I think it's just action, getting up and having things done for you in the morning, the night before, and kicking yourself into a little bit of action.
Yeah, totally. My wife and I we use protein shakes
Okay. Yes.
for breakfast. Huel is one of them that we take in the morning. And then we use Haley Pomeroy metabolism shakes for lunch, but we have a phased approach to our nutrition during the week. And all that gets prepared the night before so that, while she's getting ready for work, I make her lunch and stuff. So she's all ready to go. But a lot of time I do a lot more of that at night because it gives more time in the morning to be silent and to just prepare for the day, pray and get ready for the day.
I love it. And the protein, everybody's body is different, but I wore a CGM, continuous glucose monitor, just to see how my body reacts. And I'll tell you personally, my sugar would stay lower 15 to 20% throughout the entire day if I start the day with a healthy protein shake. Your body kind of starting the muscle protein synthesis early on was very good for my particular body.
Wow. I know we could dig a lot deeper, but let's continue. This is great. So we've already mentioned the high performing men and women that you work with in business and fitness and personal development. What are some of the single most powerful habits that separates that from everyone else? And I think we touched a little bit on that.
Yeah. Of the people I've seen, especially the men in my men's network, just being surrounded, like I said, if I was going to start all over and be surrounded by other men, just being surrounded by other people is really one of the things that will continue to take life to the next level. Tony Robbins has a great quote, which is, your life is the expectation of your peer groups, essentially.
Uh-huh.
So your life is pretty much whatever the expectation of your peer group is. And as a result, I have a peer group around me who just pushes me to be more every single day. When guys first join our group, it's amazing. It's like a lot of times men will have an excuse of, I work 5 days a week. I work my butt off. I don't have time to go to the gym. But now you join a men's network like us and you meet a guy in the group who owns 5 businesses and goes to the gym twice a day. And you're going, wait a second, this guy goes to the gym twice a day? He owns 5 businesses? What am I doing wrong here? And just being surrounded by guys who are great in all different areas. So some guys are stronger in faith than others. Some are stronger in fitness. Some are stronger in finance, whatever it might be. Some are better fathers. Some are better husbands. And so being around guys who are constantly pushing you and having that motivation. We have a WhatsApp in our group, for instance, and you wouldn't be able to see it as far on camera, but it's just the early risers. And so in our early risers, everyone drops in every single morning, the exact time you wake up. Why? A little bit of accountability. So if you are someone who wants to be in the early risers and you drop in 6:30 a.m., someone's going to go, whoa, what's going on today, man?
It's early.
A little late. And so you see the times come in every morning, 3:55 a.m., 4 a.m., 5, whatever it might be. So it's just having that accountability, building that accountability around you makes you feel like you want to rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron.
There you
For sure. Yeah. And Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about associations, and it's the same thing. Yeah. If you want to be successful, then surround yourself with successful men. And having a mastermind group with where you all have a singular purpose, or whether it be improving your health or improving your business or improving your relationships, your parenthood, or whatever it might be, that really helps because you're all working towards that same goal. And wherever two or three are gathered together, there is a mastermind that's built, and that's our Lord Jesus Christ that's in our midst.
Yeah.
You lead. Let's see. We talked about accountability. Your men's group, you've talked about accountability and growth. Why do so many men struggle to push themselves? And I think we know how to fix that, but how do they fix that?
Yeah. So why do men or people in general struggle? I think the main issue, and so whenever I talk to people, they'll go, "Oh, it's crazy how healthy you are. Like, it's crazy that you don't do microplastics in your house or that you eat all organic or whatever." And the reason I bring this up as an example is eating healthy and being the way I am is no harder than eating unhealthy. I would actually argue it's the opposite. It's easy. But the point is, it's one step at a time, right? I didn't wake up one day and know about microplastics and glyphosate and nutrition. And it was one single step at a time. And I think the reason people struggle in general is everyone looks at all these tasks as gargantuan, as, oh, I've got to get in shape. Like, all right, I've got to lose, let's say somebody has to lose 40 pounds. Definitely not, in my opinion, the right way to look at it, because that is a challenge. Losing 40 pounds, to think about that every day, that's hard. But if you make some rules in your life, I'm talking really simple rules, then you could get there very easily. So that would fall into two categories. And so no matter what someone's struggling with, the first thing I'd say is you need to make rules, real rules, quantifiable rules. I'm sure, Paul, you have friends who have said to you before, I'm going to eat healthier now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm now in a thought position in my life where whenever someone says something like that, I go, what does that mean? I used to go, oh, okay, great. Now I go, what does that mean you're going to eat healthier? And people go, I guess I'm going to have more salads. I'm like, oh, okay. So if eating healthier for you means you're going to have more salads. How many? And then they'll go,
Often a week you have them. What
Eh.
specifically are they?
That's it. And so anything, whether it's making more calls in business, like lead generation and growth, right? Or whether it's eating healthy, I really think it's important to have rules. And I have certain nutrition rules that I follow that I will never violate. And so it's like, I don't eat processed sugar up to 12 times a year. I give myself once a month. I've only had it 2 or 3 times so far this year, but that's a rule. Now, for somebody else, is that extreme? Maybe your rule's 24 times a year. Maybe your rule's 54 times a year. That's fine. Maybe it's once a week, right? I will have processed sugar once a week, but you need to have a rule. Otherwise, just eating healthy is not going to do anything. So I'll have processed sugar once a week would be someone's rule. I'll have high glycemic carbs, meaning bread or something like that, 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Like, people need rules. If you have and give yourself a rule, then you're giving yourself a chance. If you quantify it, put a number behind it. You want to be a better husband? How many date nights are you going on? You want to be a better father? How many half hours are you spending with your kid? You can quantify stuff. So rules is a really big piece to, I think, why people don't hit a goal. And then the second would be, instead of looking at it as a gargantuan task, break it down into the small pieces. Someone who's a master at systems like you does this every day, breaking things down into small pieces. But I have what I call the secret to working out for the rest of your life. And I can't tell you how many people it's helped. And it's the simplest thing. And so for people who want to get healthy, who want to lose 40 pounds, the number one thing that people tell me is, I can't go to the gym. Like, I try and then I fall off. I go for a month or 2 and then I get sick and I don't go again. Or I go consistently and then I go on vacation and then I don't go again. And I said, what's the issue there? The issue is you're going to the gym. Going to the gym is, you got to get ready for 20 minutes. You got to drive there. You got to spend an hour there. You got to come back. You got to shower. Then you go to work. We're talking like an hour and a half to 2 hours of your life. That's pretty complicated stuff. So if you want to make change, just do it little by little. Promise yourself 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Like, you're going to work out for 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. I don't want you saying to go to the gym 3 days or 5 days a week. Tell me that you're going to do push-ups, you're going to jog, you're going to run around your block, whatever it is, for 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Once you feel that you can 100% do that, 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week. And most of the time, people are doing 20 minutes a day. You start doing 20 minutes of workout, you're going to do 30. You're going to do 40. But you're promising yourself that no matter what, you will hit at least that 20 minutes. Maybe a long answer, but the answer is bite-sized ways to go at things like the 20 minutes and also having rules for yourself.
Yeah, nice. I call that incremental action, or the power of the incremental action, or the slight edge, doing small things, but consistently. And over time, they become habitual. And it does take a while to grow habits. And sometimes you have habits that we all probably brush our teeth in the morning or get ready for the day. You can stack things on top of that to make them easier to do. So it's called habit stacking. There's a great book called Atomic Habits that talks about that.
Good one.
So one of the things that popped up in my questions for today, they're based on the questions that you gave me, but I want to be delicate about this. But as we all grow older, we all experience loss. We experience the loss of a loved one, maybe a spouse, maybe a child. Certainly it can be a parent, siblings. I've lost both of my parents and 3 of my siblings in the last, my father a long time ago, but my mom and my brothers in the last decade. I've lost my mom and 3 brothers.
Help.
And so what do you do? What do you suggest when you're faced with that kind of loss? How do you get over that?
Yeah, that's challenging. There's no right answer to this, right? Otherwise, we'd all know what to do in dealing with that loss. I lost my brother at a young age. I think I was 19. He was 26. Lost him with an overdose incident. And I can't quite put a pinpoint on it, but I think it's about the time in my life where I started going, oh, okay, each day matters. This isn't a dress rehearsal, right? Maybe got to get a little more pointed, a little more serious and deliberate about the things that I do in my life. Everyone's loss is different. Having children, I can't imagine trying to talk to somebody or coach somebody through loss of a child versus loss of a sibling or a parent, right? It's very different how we all react to things. The thing that I could say is try to be there for people as much as possible. When someone loses someone, there's like meals and a meal train that comes through for the first week, and there's the funerals and there's things of that nature. But then after a week or two or whatever,
It drops off.
they
Yeah.
go silent. And so being there for people, it's important to pull people out, especially when they're pulling back. So I've experienced this in friends who have addiction problems, alcohol, whatever it might be. When they're not answering your phone calls or not texting you back or anything, it's not the time to go, oh, they're such a jerk, they never answer my calls. It's the time to go, oh, I really need to get in touch with this person, because if they're not answering me back, if they're not calling me back, they need somebody to talk to. So I'm a big fan of trying to never give up on people in that respect. I've unfortunately dealt with a lot of people around me that have addiction issues in life, and it's about never giving up. Now, as far as like dealing with the loss, I don't know that one ever deals with it other than understanding the kind of esoteric divinity and complexity of the universe, in that we're all going to go one day. I don't know if you know this or most people know this, but eventually all the stars in the universe will go out. Like, they will stop burning. There is a set time that scientists have said there will no longer be stars lit in this universe. And understanding that we all have a time, depending when it is, I think, an important part of the acceptance of, okay, this person had a different timeline than me. I will still be reconnected with them in the future, but the time on Earth has maybe ended. So there's no easy answer. Everybody deals with things totally different. I would say the number one thing I'd want to do if I was dealt with loss is, again, surround myself with community, like a community of people. Because anyone who is listening to this, there's nothing worse than just staying at your house or watching TV or doing more work emails or whatever. Like, you need to be around people if you have lost, because that's what's going to pull you back to reality and get you back to the person you are. It's being surrounded by community people. So as much as you have the ability or the want to suck into yourself and stay home, you got to get out and be around people.
Yeah, and for those of you who are listening, you don't have to experience that kind of loss to take this advice and apply it, because having people around you, if you've lost your job, or if you've had a bad breakup, or if you've gotten rock bottom because you have a substance abuse issue, having people around you is the best, probably the best advice that you can give. And then also, we are spiritual beings. We are as well as physical, and we need to have faith that we'll get through. And the thing I always think about when someone is having trouble and they focus on that trouble that they have, but really there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity to grow. And the good news is that this is only temporary. Now, obviously, if you're dying, that's not temporary, but there's something after death. In my faith, I believe that there's an afterlife. So we'll move on from there. But yeah, having people around you is great advice. Now, we are getting close to the end here, but we spent a lot of time on health, which I think is super important for entrepreneurs. We need to be healthy. If we're growing a business or we're bootstrapping, we have to have really a lot of health. Our health, we have to have energy so that we can do the things that need to be done. And the most successful men and women in the world do what others aren't willing to do. And that's, I think, why, whether it be going to the gym 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, or eating and getting detoxed, or investing consistently, there's things that they do that not everybody does. It's, yeah, I should do that someday. Someday is now. Today is now. So
Yep.
I want to ask you this question. What do you wish I would have asked you that we didn't cover, that you really want to get your message to the masses?
I guess mindset has a lot more to do with it than most people give it credit for. And so I think you brought up how to win friends and influence people earlier. Or
But
okay, you brought up what was the Miracle Morning, right?
Miracle Morning, yeah.
Miracle Morning. The mindset that you start the day, it's so critical and it dominoes upon itself.
Yeah.
And some people were lucky enough to have parents and be surrounded by that mindset as they grow up. And that's an amazing gift. Some people were just never exposed to a positive mindset, right? And there's this idea of karma, of course, in the universe or world that people talk about. And so I think it's so funny when people talk about karma as if it's some amorphous, fake thing. Karma's a very real thing in that you're talking about lead machine growth. Look, if you turn around tomorrow and you give out 20 leads to 20 other business people, you don't think 1, 2, 3, 5 of those people is going to want to give you a lead back? That's human nature. So you might say, oh, it's not. If you do things for others, people want to do things for you. And so having that positive mindset, knowing that karma and giving will come back to you, hands open, as you said.
Yeah.
It is a really critical component. I know a lot of men who came into the group where their parents just never exposed them to the idea of positive thinking or of really specific goal setting and things like that. And once they were exposed to other guys, they say, I thought it was crazy that people would talk about like positive thinking or positive things. The amount of research, like double-blind placebo studies that show how effective positive thinking is unbelievable. We know now that if you put your mind on it, it can happen. So how do you get positive thinking? You change your state. You change the way you're doing things. If you're not feeling good, whether it's because of the loss of a job or a loss of somebody else, then change your state, get up from the couch. It's as small as literally getting up, moving to another room, doing another thing, listening to another person, talking to any small action that can put you towards a positive mindset will take you in the right direction, in my opinion.
Right. Awesome. Hey, how can listeners get a hold of you and connect with you and learn about your men's group and becoming more high performing men?
Cool. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, which is Bart Henderson ESQ. So it's just BartHenderson ESQ, or follow Agora Guilds. That's AGORA Guild. We then have agoraguild.com as well, which is a great place to go look at things. And then feel free to send me an email if anybody wants about Agora Guild. It's BH, pretty simple. B as in boy, H as in happy, at agoraguild.com.
Gotcha. Thank you again, Bart, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation. We went all over the place, but some really good stuff there. As we sign off, remember, faith and action go hand in hand, so keep the pedal to the metal. Until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyon, your host, and Barton Henderson, Esquire. Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Great talking, Paul.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyon, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.